Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are really diving deep into ICP, Internet Computer Protocol.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. This is a big one, and we're going to be looking at their page. It's called What is ICP?
Internet Computer.
KG?
Yeah, right. So this should give us, hopefully, all the info we need for this deep dive.
I hope so too, because this is a big one. Okay, so right off the bat, they're talking about replacing software with something called smart contracts. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, so smart contracts, they're basically like self-executing agreements.
Okay.
But they're written in code. So it kind of takes out like the middleman, right?
Yeah.
So instead of relying on like a company to kind of manage everything, these contracts, they govern how everything runs.
So instead of Facebook having their fingers in my data, it's all in the code. Exactly. It's about decentralization, which is something they talk about a lot.
Good. Yeah.
Really giving control back to the users, right?
Okay. I mean, a lot of blockchains talk about being decentralized. What makes this different?
Well, they're talking about a level of decentralization that could totally change how we think about technology. It's kind of hard to imagine, right?
Yeah.
But think of it this way. Right now, most of what we do online is controlled by a handful of companies.
Right.
They've got our data, they can censor stuff, they make the rules, and we just kind of have to go along with it.
Yeah, that's true.
With ICP's vision, though, things are different. Imagine social media, but it's owned by, the community, Yeah. Censorship. Almost impossible. Your data is actually yours. It's a huge shift.
Wow. Okay. It's a lot to take in. How does it even work? With the code, what's stopping people from messing it up?
Good question. That's where all the technical stuff comes in. Cryptography and consensus mechanisms and...
A whole bunch of other words I don't understand.
Exactly. But we'll get into all that. Basically, they've designed a system that's really hard to cheat. It's super secure, but we'll circle back.
Okay. So high-performance smart contracts. That's another thing they emphasize. What's so special about that?
So a lot of blockchains, they struggle with speed, right? Transactions take forever. It's clunky.
Sure.
ICP says they've fixed that. They're talking about smart contracts with tons of memory, hundreds of gigabytes. Do you know how much that is?
A lot.
A lot. 1 gigabyte is an hour of HD video. Now imagine running a video game, a whole video game, on a blockchain. That's the kind of power they're claiming.
Really? A video game?
Yeah. It's wild. And it's not just games. This tech could totally change, finance, supply chains, everything. We're talking about pushing the limits of what's possible.
Okay. But for all this talk about, revolutionizing the internet, what about normal people?
Right. How easy is the stuff to actually use?
Yeah. Most blockchain stuff seems so intimidating.
That's another cool thing about ICP. They actually care about user experience.
Okay.
Which is kind of rare in the blockchain world. They want to make it so you can use these apps straight from a web browser.
Really?
Yeah. No crypto wallets or tokens or anything.
Okay, how is that even possible?
Okay, so remember gas fees.
Yeah, those are annoying.
So with ICP, developers, they can prepay those fees.
Yep.
It's called reverse gas, and it makes it so using ICP feels just like using a website.
Wow.
Yeah. Super smooth, no extra steps.
That's actually really cool. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, and it makes way more sense for most people.
Okay, this next part's kind of wild. DAO control.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting.
So, the ICP community is actually in control, not some company.
Exactly. It's imagine a blockchain, but it can be upgraded, even the underlying protocol, without needing, a CEO to sign off on it.
Whoa.
That's what the NNS is all about.
NNS?
Yeah, the network nervous system. Right. It's basically the brain of the whole thing.
Okay.
So everyone who has a stake in ICP can vote on stuff like technical upgrades, economic policies, all of it.
So it's like a big decentralized democracy.
Exactly. Pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool. And, okay, one more technical thing. Chain key cryptography.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
What is that?
So this is how ICP can be, really secure, but also talk to other blockchains.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because right now, most blockchains are, islands.
Right.
ICP wants to, build bridges between them, make it so you can easily move stuff between different blockchains.
That would be huge.
Exactly. And chain key cryptography makes that possible. It's super secure and makes sure everything is legit no matter what blockchain you're using.
That's awesome. Okay, one last thing before we move on. Asynchronous execution. What is that?
Okay, so remember how some blockchains are slow because they can only do one thing at a time? Asynchronous execution is like having multiple checkout lines open at the same time.
Gotcha, so it's faster.
Way faster. And that's really important for ICP because they want to support like tons of users and apps all at the same time.
Makes sense. So they're thinking big picture.
Oh, yeah.
Global scale, billions of users.
Wow. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground here today with ICP, from like the really big ideas to the actual tech behind it all.
Yeah, it's a lot to get your head around for sure. But hopefully now you're starting to see just what they're building here.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's why I love doing these deep dives, right? We're not just like reading headlines. We're really getting into it, really trying to understand like what could this tech actually do? And that's so important with something like ICP that could change so much. It's bigger than just, faster transactions or whatever. They want to change how the whole internet works.
Totally. So let's bring it all home. What does it all mean? Like, let's say they actually pull this off. What then? What changes?
That is the question, isn't it? The million-dollar question. But I think we could be talking about a totally different world. Like, imagine if the internet wasn't controlled by, these big companies, but by the users.
And we're worrying about Facebook selling my data or whatever.
Exactly. It could be huge for privacy and security, like way beyond what we have now. And it's not just about us, right? Think about businesses, governments, everyone.
Give me an example. Like, how would this work in real life?
Okay, so healthcare, your medical records, right? Super sensitive stuff. Imagine that's stored on a decentralized network. And only you can give access. No more worrying about some hack leaking your information.
Okay, yeah, that would be huge. What about like other areas? Education.
Education, supply chains, you name it. Imagine schools run by like teachers and students, or knowing exactly where your food came from because the supply chain is all on the blockchain. The possibilities are really kind of endless.
It's exciting, but kind of scary too, right? Like this could change everything.
Oh, for sure. And we got to remember this is still all pretty new. ICP has a long way to go and who knows what will happen. But just thinking about the potential is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. This deep dive has given me a lot to think about for sure. So here's something for everyone listening to ponder. If this works, if ICP really does rebuild the internet, what will that world look like? How will we live and work and connect with each other? It's a big question. And I don't have the answers, but it's definitely something worth thinking about. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back next time with another deep dive. But until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll see you in the metaverse.